And today we are going to be talking about women of color in representation for comic books and video games. So let's start off with introductions.
Hi everyone, I'm Navi. I am a project manager at the Digital Future Lab, and my pronouns are she and her.
Hi everyone, Ankita Sharma, gender pronouns she, her, and hers, and my role here is a project manager.
I'm Lamia, and I go by they, them, and I am also a project manager at the DFL.
My name is Miriam. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the marketing lead, and I'm also a project manager.
At the DFL.
At the DFL, yeah.
Speaking of, what is the DFL?
So Ankita, actually, you, I think, have one of the best descriptions of the DFL that I've heard in a while. Do you want to go into that?
Yeah, so the Digital Future Lab is a inclusive and safe space where we have the opportunity of developing video games. What we are trying to do here is create non-violent video games for all age groups. And the 3 video games we have in production right now are Hug the Line, which is also short for HTL, and we've got Corrupted and Ghostlight. If we really want to dwell into one of our video games, I would just like to highlight Corrupted because we do a really good job at representing women of color and in our characters, and I think it's really important to showcase different diverse characters, because when people are playing video games, we don't just want to have the users experience a diverse community. We want a diverse community to be involved in our video games as well, and I think Corrupted does a really good job with that.
That is really well said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so before we delve a little bit deeper into Corrupted, we actually have a special announcement. We're going to be at Geek Girl Con this year. So that's going to be Saturday, September 30th, and Sunday, October 1st. That's going to be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on both days. And we're going to be at booth D109. So if you want to check out any of those 3 games, so that's Hug the Line, Ghostlight, or Corrupted, make sure to come and check us out at Geek Girl Con.
That's D109, folks.
All right. And actually for Corrupted, we're actually going to bring on 2 people who have done a lot of work on developing the characters for Corrupted, and we can get a little bit more of the process behind developing those characters.
Yeah.
A lot of the amazing work.
So we're going to pull them in. They want to join.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We're gonna step out.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so Corrupted actually has an interesting story in terms of character representation, which these artists will tell us about.
So, Morgan, you'll actually need a mic.
I'm Morgan. I use she or they pronouns, and I am one of the 2D artists and concept artists. It's just me and Chris doing all of the artwork actually for this whole game.
Yep. And then if you want to introduce yourself.
All right, well, I'm Chris. Use they, them pronouns. I do a lot of Corrupted, more of the story work, still do a little art, but kind of fleshing out these characters and making them a representation of what kind of we see in the world and what we want people to see in the world.
Yeah, so actually, if you guys wouldn't mind going kind of through, why don't we start with Di, explaining who she is and how she's progressed throughout your time at the lab.
She's a really good dumpster fire to start with.
Yeah.
I think she was the first, I think, human character we had for the lab, and she started out kind of almost the polar opposite of what we have now.
Yeah.
Very stereotypical kind of sci-fi, feminine representation of a sci-fi space marine kind of a thing. Skin tight outfit, very thin, all of this with the straight hair, but it was she was okay.
She wasn't what we wanted necessarily for.
Yeah.
Especially as our lead character for the game.
I mean, we've seen that 100 times, rehashed a billion separate ways. That's every single sci-fi game.
Yeah. Honestly, almost every single game in the genre.
It's basically like a white female who is thin, model sized, right?
Yep.
Skin tight.
That's who
She wore leggings into outer space.
Yeah.
Which was our first mistake.
That's who Di originally was at the DFL. So what did you change of Di? What did you do with Di?
I think it started with me, and then Chris came on shortly after.
Okay.
It was an art test, I think. I don't think I'm not sure, it wasn't said it was an art test, but it was an art test, I'm fairly certain.
For when you were joining the lab.
Yeah, because this was the first thing I had to do. So they gave me dye and said, okay, here's the character, go do some stuff to it. So I think I got her design, if I recall correctly, either the Wednesday or the Thursday. And on Fridays, we have our big Friday meetings. And that night, Thursday night, I just sat down and decided to redo her whole concept.
Okay.
Both like in terms of her body shape, her ethnicity, her race. Her hair was a big one for me, actually. Different kinds of colors of hair, and don't make me cut out again. And different hair textures and styles, because there's a lot of politics around it. It's very interesting if you get into it deep. And I think my biggest, thought I had in my head for doing this, because I wasn't sure how everyone was going to react, because I did just take this character and destroy it.
Yeah.
It was better to ask forgiveness than permission, because in my personal experience, I've asked to do X, Y, and Z. Can we have more people of color? Can we have more of these things? And usually it's a resounding no from any team.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
So some of the visuals you're gonna see on our live stream is basically things that Morgan has taken in ways how she could change dye. So in terms of trying different ethnicities and different hair structures, right?
Mm-hmm. This is all my artwork. There's no consistency. It's been over the course of 2 years, so I've gone through phases. All of my phases, like the moon, I'm never standing still. So we went through, I think the first thing we settled on was her ethnicity. And we settled on African American features.
Nice.
And past that, for me, it was an internal struggle of skin tone and hair texture and style. You have things to say, Chris? You're taking breaths.
I mean, Dai's character, we haven't we're still working on it because the game itself still needs to have work done on it.
Yeah.
But so far, what we wanted to bring to life was not just this hey, welcome to my spaceship. It's she's gonna be some rough and tumble. She's the leader of this group. She's kicking ass in space, helping out people in need.
Right.
She has a fucking bod to show for it too.
Yeah. She's hey.
She's the definition of the buff girlfriend.
She's very buff.
I mean, we still gave her leggings because that ass, though. But we definitely gave her Space Marine bod.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean that's basically what we were going for, Space Marine, but also she's a good person. She's
Yeah.
not out there
Right.
just shooting up whatever. She's. I don't think we even have guns.
We
or
don't have
any-
guns
Yeah,
or-
we
No.
don't. There's no guns. No guns.
No.
Her entire mission is to go and spread peace and help out far off colonies.
Right.
Who send signals hey, we need help, and then Dai's I'm on it.
That actually kind of brings up an interesting point, because the work that's been done with Dai and how she's progressed has actually opened up a lot of space for both other characters and for a narrative that kind of delves away from the more violent Space Marine type of work. But so those other characters also, we're not seeing the stereotypical
Yeah,
person in
definitely
space.
not. Definitely not. We have 5 other characters, but the one that we've fleshed out more right now is Asphoria, who is not your typical space RPG.
I don't think I've ever seen a character like her
No.
in a space game.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit more about the character?
Well, for one thing, she is hijabi. I believe that's a term.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I'm all right. But yeah,
absolutely.
she's hijabi, and she wears a veil. Not the full veil. I think we can pull up the image of her on there.
Yeah, and while we're working on that, we can talk about her a little bit
Yeah,
more.
so she is, well, again, she's not your typical space marine girl. She's a little bigger for her size, but that doesn't mean they're in space. We can do whatever we
She's
want.
body diverse.
Body
like,
diverse, there
Like
we
we're
go.
not just seeing the
We're not seeing the
stick
model.
thin.
Yeah, we're not seeing
Yeah.
the model figure anymore. She's a scientist, another thing, and I believe we're sticking with a religious. She's gonna be religious. That's gonna be part of her like story arc. She works kind of in like the biology and helping like nurture plants and like build up ecosystems when like the planets ask for help, like, oh, things are going wrong. She'll take native plants and like cultivate them and put them back and like build up this ecosystem and like kind of teach this is how you're like the ladder of life, I guess.
Yeah, she's like
Yeah.
the flora and fauna expert of
Yeah.
the big
Yeah.
galaxy.
And so we don't have her full character design settled, but we
Yeah.
do have an early concept piece on the screen now. And can you go through kind of the thought process of creating her as a character, her outfit, and everything like that?
I don't remember if the names in the story came first or the design came first. I think it was kind of at the same time.
Yeah, it was about the same time. We kind of had like, oh, we want to have more characters, and this is kind of what we want to go for, but we didn't have ethnicities or anything yet. We had like very rough outlines of what other characters we wanted in. And
right,
then
I remember this.
Yeah.
You had written some really amazing stuff. You went through and did
just like basic character traits, what we want to see in these characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we kind of pulled in what we wanted, these ideas that we wanted, we're like, why don't we just make this character hijabi? And then we kind of mold this character into, not just like plop her into this like character traits, but we kind of took everything and kind of built her up from there.
Yeah.
We don't just like a lot of like not social media, sorry. Like a lot of big games just like, oh, we need diversity. Here's the thing. Make it brown or whatever. And, like that's it. That's all they do. They don't do any research. They don't do any they don't look into it or any of the cultures or anything. They're just like, there you go. There's your diverse character when
Yeah.
the character really isn't that diverse.
Yeah, we get the aesthetics. Like they'll put like the brown skin. Like one thing it always peeves me about specifically 3D games or games with like fully rendered 3D models is that whenever they make a model brown, you can tell it's just like the white girl's face, and they just like tinted the skin tone down.
Yep.
So they don't go and change any of the features or like think about critically exactly what it means to have those features and to walk around and like experience life like with like thicker lips or different chest sizes, hip sizes, like nose profiles, all that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
we've been doing a lot of work with the MSA, the
Yeah.
Muslim Student Association, and they've been helping us a lot. Like, it's not even like hard, difficult research. We just go there, ask them, hey, we don't know anything about what it means to be hijabi. Can you help us? And they're like welcoming us with open arms and you just gotta find those places that are willing to teach others. You can't just like go up to a random stranger, but
Google is also a thing.
yeah.
You can just Google, but you have to find the websites that are run by people from like those different groups of diversity or different cultures, different ethnicities. If you're just going to like Fox News,
Yeah, no. Like
yeah.
Yeah, and then a lot of what we're doing with that, it kind of speaks back to our topic today, which is representation of women of color. And it can be incredibly damaging to not see yourself in media. And especially media that is typically representing other groups a whole lot.
Or even just your group, but one way.
Yeah,
that's I
right,
think is the
absolutely.
most harmful, having just like one representation of one group then versus not having it at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, I
Yeah.
have an example. So I remember Morgan was like creating like the art part for our character who is a Muslim hijabi in Corrupted. And one thing she came to me was like for hijabi designs or like dress designs and all of that. And I sat there and to myself, I'm thinking like I'm coming here as a Bangladeshi Muslim, but I'm not representing other cultures that are Muslim, you know? So we're like, let's reach out to MSA. Shout out to MSA at UW Bothell, by the way.
Hey.
Thank you so much. Because you have different cultures coming together. It's not when you do representations, you always have to keep in mind there's more than one group. which I feel is a lot of blindsided when it comes to media.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's the thing that we're focusing on with Dysphoria is trying to create this one character, but also pulling in all these different traits and not trying to just box her in.
Because, like, my ideal Muslim would probably be a girl wearing a traditional Bangladeshi shari with a hijab, which does not fit for someone who might be Pakistani or Lebanese. So it's always good to do that check.
Always good to research, always good to explore.
And it's so easy to ask questions too. Like, I've never met someone who doesn't want to see themselves in a character. So if you go and you, like, look for the people who want that and who want to contribute, because not everyone like has the technical know-how or like the words even to like describe exactly what they're feeling about a character or what they feel they need in a character. But it's always just very easy to just reach out.
Yeah, it's always good.
Like, again, speaking to the seeing yourself in a character, my favorite game, Wind Waker, Zelda, Tetra is so beautiful. She's takes things like by the horns and just like does things herself. She's so strong and like she's living by herself on a pirate ship and she's just badass and awesome. And then they take her in the last arc, like little section of it, and they turn her into like a white princess. And it's just,
And Tetra was brown originally.
yeah, Tetra is brown. She's like living on a pirate ship in the middle of the ocean, like born and raised pirate. And then they turn her into like a white trophy princess. And it's just so disappointing.
And there's so many people who are hungry to see themselves, kind of like what you were saying, because I remember we actually did a demo at 6 at PAX a few weeks ago, and I remember there was one person who was going around to the table specifically looking for lead characters of color.
Yep.
And so we were actually demoing our game Ghostlight, which has no real human characters in it. But we also had corrupted on a flash drive. And so they saw our social media flyers, which have pictures of Dai, and lit up. And they're like, wait, can I play this?
Yeah.
Can I play this?
Can I just like
I had the picture of
Yeah, they're like, can I play this? And we had them sit down, and they were just so excited, especially to know that there was a story behind this character. It's not like some paper thin person that they throw there to say, oh, hey, look, we're diverse. We have a person of color with like in our game. There's an actual depth to the story that people are just really looking for, which you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, you're doing great. And there's going to be more narratives working
Oh
on
yeah,
each
we
of
have
these.
like 3 other characters. One of them is like Hispanic, Latinx.
Wow.
Another one is gonna be Native American. We still need to look into that because, I mean, Washington is the best place. We have like so many like Native American like museums and like access to these things.
History.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so much rich history. It'd be a waste not to go for it. Like,
Yes.
So
That's incredible. Yeah.
So yeah, that's Corrupted.
And then did you guys have any kind of final thoughts on Corrupted, both Dai and Dysphoria, the process?
make more Black people in video games, please. I'm begging you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need more of them. It's like,
There's no reason not to.
yeah,
is
I
the
mean,
thing.
from like a technical standpoint, from like a business standpoint, from any other standpoint, like, why no? And I mean, there's a reason. It starts with an R, ends with an A-system.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely do need to see more diversity, particularly of different races and ethnicities in video games and comics.
I don't even know how to describe it. Like, as someone raised Muslim, like, seeing a hijabi female in a, like, sci-fi game is like, what? Like, this is so cool. Like, what outfit is she gonna wear? Like, what is the style? Like, how buff or, like, you know, like, what is her strength? Like, these are things you never seen in the past. So it's really cool to see how it's developing.
Yeah.
So if that's nothing else, we actually have our next pick that's
Yeah.
about to come up. So we're actually going to switch some people out here, and then we'll be delving into the realm of Miss Marvel.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right.